Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is December the 26th, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Friday to ya. Hopefully this episode finds you in a good place, in a good space, feeling good. Hopefully, you get that Friday energy up in your system, whether you're listening to this on a Friday or a Monday or what have you. But yeah, I'm saying my day was pretty good, but it was mixed. I feel like I had maybe one of the most depressing days of this year, up until like my gym session, and then we got to kind of start turning things around there. But we can just get into it. So, I get up and I'm like, all right, let's get to work. And I got to start by saying I think one of the reasons was I slept so much throughout the day into the night, and I didn't sleep well into the night, so I love that. My stomach, for some reason, even though I didn't get any holiday dinner, it was just bubbled, just gross, and I'm just miserable the whole night into the day, and that's carrying me into work. So I'm just like, okay, so I'm physically just not good, and then also I think just mentally I'm just shit for brains, if I'm being honest, for lack of better words. I think just this whole tail end of this month has really just altered my brain for next year and how I want to look at it, how I want to approach it. And it's so frustrating because this is the phase of the year where I look back on the fruits of my labor, whether it be work, whether it be just other accomplishments, whatever, and I give myself that pat on the back. And I do feel like I deserve it for this year, and outside of work, but also inside of work. We made it through peak. Coming into work and seeing nothing should have been so nice. It should have made me so happy, but it didn't. It just my brain is just I have to be on adapt mode. I need to keep my head on a swivel. And so one of the things I told myself is I'm just going to meet this shit head on. I'm not just going to wait out the next, week and a half, whatever, for the changes to happen. I'm going to run to meet them, whatever. And so I was like, well, there's no work. Okay. I'm not going to sit around in maintenance. That's apparently got me into this in the first place. Whatever. One of the reasons. I'm going to go upstairs. So I hit a patrol, and it felt weird. I didn't like it, but I know I got to get used to it, and this is just the best way to do it, is just to get back into the groove of it. And so I'm breaking down boxes, and I'm doing that. I run into my new lead officially. Awesome. And it was just it was such a weird reversal. And the person who helps me, who has been helping me through peak, they were working the door, and then they see me talking to the lead, and he goes, look at this. This is weird, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah. And he could just see it. He could see it on my face that I just do not want to be up there, but he obviously understands why I am. And it's just awkward, and I'm getting a little quick breakdown. I think I'm gonna get reintroduced to the group next week or something. I don't know, but yeah, so, it was a bit of an adjustment. I did get to run into one of my other coworkers, which was nice. It was a nice meetup to see them again and kind of catch up a bit. And this is a person who's been giving me all the tea, what's been going on upstairs. So, it'll be hey, now I'm going to be getting into the flesh. So awesome. It's just, I hate it. This is just such an annoying little dumb politic thing that I'm going to have to get back into. It's just, it's so gross. It's so surreal. I also have to be around more people. It's just, it's gross. It's icky. But that being said, it's just something I know I have to do. And, it's been on my mind, and I'm just hey, let's just get used to it, right? So that's what I did on the top part of the day. Work did start coming in, so I got after it. And this led me to the maybe the cherry of my day. It was so weird. It was so awkward. My soon to be former supervisor came up to me finally. And they're like, hey, bud, how's it going? It's how are things? And I'm like, it was okay. And, he's asking me how my Christmas was. And I'm just being honest. I'm like, it was fine. I spent it alone. Like, oh, you didn't hang out with anybody? Like, you didn't get any food? I'm like, no. You didn't get any gifts? No. Like, I'm just kind of like, it just feels so weird. And he finally gets to the meat of the matter. And he goes, yeah, so I know we should have talked. I know you had the talk with, and I'm like, yeah, I already did. He figured that you were going to have it with me earlier and you didn't. And then after the fact, I kind of realized that this is my former, I'm just going to call him my former now, trying to do the corpo thing, I think, of saying, hey, I'm going to let you down easy on Friday type of vibe. And it's like, brother, this got bungled because the other guy did the other approach, like the opposite way. So I don't know what to tell you. Like, this isn't working. And like, I think that at some point I kind of realized that this is what he wanted. He kind of wanted a nice little pleasant send off. And I just was like, I don't want to give that to you, man. Like, this is so awkward for me. And it's kind of like, I'm not saying it's his fault. It is what it is. This was maybe a bound to happen thing, whatever. But it's like, brother, I know you didn't fight for me. And I know in the end you didn't really help me. You wanted to talk about how I was on my cell phone too long. And I just started like cracking. Like, I was just like, yeah, it's fine. It is what it is. He's like, you can always come talk to me if you ever need to vent or whatever. And I'm like, okay, thanks. Yeah. Okay, all right. And like, just the best ending that we could have is he comes over a little bit closer to me and he wants the dap. And I'm like, you know what? I'll give it to you, man. I'm tired. This is so awkward. Like, I don't want to, like, crash out or anything here. Like, you are a supervisor. You were fine. Everything was fine. Like, whatever. I just want this over now, right? And so I boop. And he wasn't satisfied with it. He was like, come on, man. Like that wasn't enough. I didn't give it enough gusto. And for some reason, I was like, oh, baby, I'm going to give you something then. And so what I do is I just give him paper squid. And I go, womp. And that's it. It just felt so good. And he's like, oh, man, really? And I'm like, yep. And he walked away. And that was so funny to me. I knew the second I did it, I was going to talk about it tonight, and I was going to be giggling like this. I'm so sorry, but it was so funny. And that's the end. I hope we do not talk ever again. Like, there's nothing to be said. I'm not even, like, mad at him, like, whatever. Chapter closed. We can just move along. So, there was another dead wave after I finished that. I kind of go up again, cut down boxes. I'm hoping that's going to be my lot in life. We'll see. But yeah, I kind of proceeded to wrap out the day, and I'm in a funk. I start feeling a little bit better towards the tail end of my day, but my stomach was just bothering me up until that. So I was just like, man, I couldn't even eat if I wanted to. Like, that felt gross. So yeah, I'm going to the gym with all this on my mind, all this on my plate. And I just am just like, dude. And remember the last lift we had before? We bungled that. We couldn't even do 5 less than our like max lift or whatever. I was just so upset. So I'm like, let's do this. Let's come in here crazy. So I went in and did just that. We were hitting all our max lifts. The focus for me was definitely the deadlift. I'm like, we're gonna hit it. And it was, 455? Yes. I was like, we're gonna hit it. Let's go. Like, I couldn't even do 450 for some reason last time. We can do it though. And I was like, I don't care if I break myself in half. We're gonna do it. And like, at some point, I know I made a noise. Which is so embarrassing. I made a noise, got that shit up, put that shit down, and then I like smacked the Smith machine. I was like, yes, I was so happy. I'm so glad they didn't ring the lunk alarm on me, because that's a seppuku moment. That's my last day. But no, it felt good. I tried to go up for it again. I got halfway. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Whatever. But that set the tone for the rest of the gym, or at least the rest of the session, and that felt good. Went into my free weights after that. We're hitting 75, trying to. That's hard. Oof. Couldn't complete the same way I wanted to, like some of my movements, but we got them done. I'll take it. That felt good. And then everything else kind of proceeded as usual in terms of my core work, in terms of my filler work, in terms of the cardio. I will say I'm blaming the shoes, and this is a bad cop out, but I'm blaming the New Balances, the New Balances, because I can just not run the way I want in them. So I'm just walking on the treadmill. Excuse me. I'm keeping the same intensity on the Stairmaster. That's my saving grace. I'm still burning around 500 calories, so I'm not like, shooting myself. And it's like every other day when I got my other shoes on, I hit it normal. I hit it nasty. But like, I'm just not even trying to, sweat it at this point. We've done it too much. I'm good with the cardio I'm doing. It's cool. But no, at some point during my cardio too, one of my homies sent me a dude meme and said that they were thinking of me whenever they saw, the God Emperor, because what is a God Emperor if not a big worm? And, it's good to know that people would love me even if I was a worm. So that is something that made me smile and, in total is going to give me the will to keep going for tomorrow. God damn it. So yeah, that has been my day. We got out of the gym, we got home, yada, yada, yada. Here we are. We're yapping it up. So that's what it's been. That's what it's looking like. So yeah, thank you for letting me tell you my day. Now you're all caught up with the Joneses. I felt so crazy today. I still feel crazy. It comes and it goes, right? Depression. But hey, we move, and I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be all right. I know things could be so much worse. I want to make the most of my life, most of my days, most of this situation, whatever. And I'm gonna try to do my best to be positive and not be like negative and defensive. I want to try to be like on my Jim Carrey yes man shit. Man. But I also told my friend that I'm like, no, this might be my Rorschach prison arc. They're locked in there with me. So there's a duality there. Okay, let's do our startup and let's talk about like real shit, real life shit. Real world news. Yeah. So yeah, let's take our startup break and get into it. Oh. I always hate the idea of like a new listener just getting dropped into a story like that. Like what is this? What is happening? Who is this guy? He's got problems. Why am I about to hear his takes on news? I know. It's a doozy. Oh, this is a random thing I didn't mention. Another, shitty thing that has happened at work. My heater did break, the switch. It finally burnt out. That was like maybe about 2-3 days ago. It was like maybe a day or so before Christmas break. I just was like in my woes. I didn't think about it, but worth mentioning. Next time, it gets really cold, just know I'm freezing. Anyway, from the BBC. BBC News, what have you. Quite. 2 killed in suspected Palestinian ramming and knife attack in Israel. 2 people have been killed in what police say was a rolling terror attack in northern Israel. Police said the attacker ran over a pedestrian in the eastern city of Bet Shan, then drove on before stabbing a woman near in Harad, about 8 miles or 12.5 kilometers to the west. The suspect was eventually shot and wounded by a civilian outside the city of Afula, I think, according to police. Shimshon Mordecai, a 68-year-old man, was killed and a 16-year-old boy was hurt in Friday's ramming, officials said, while the stabbing victim was Aviv Mayor, aged 18. A day before the attack, an Israeli reservist was fired after video emerged of him ramming a praying Palestinian with a quad bike. And that's the image I have in the thumbnail. Excuse me. The suspect in the attack came from the village of Qatbait. I'm totally fucking this up. Qatbatia in the northern occupied West Bank. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said. Following the incident, the Israel Defense Force, or the IDF, said it was preparing to carry out an operation in the Qatbatia area. Katz said he had instructed the IDF to act forcefully and immediately. The IDF said the suspect had infiltrated into Israeli territory several days ago. Israel's Khan News public broadcaster said the 37-year-old man had been working illegally in Israel and had used his employer's vehicle in the attack. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expressed deepest condolences to the victims' families. In a post on X, he also praised the heroic citizen who neutralized the terrorists. Now, before we get into the next part, a thing I don't like about this, and I feel like I've seen this story unfold multiple times, is that you have an act of aggression by one person, maybe as a group or duo of people, but they're saying, okay, this is terrorist action, and because of this, we're going to go to specifically where this person lived, their home, their residence, their neighborhood, and we are going to fuck that area up. And it's like, that is not any kind of due diligence, any kind of justice. There's no kind of investigative work here we're talking about. That just feels like mob mentality. That just feels like you are moving and saying, hey, you fuck with us? We're going to fuck with y'all. And it's like, why not just mete out the justice normally in that kind of situation? So like I said, I would be remiss to not mention that, I feel. Let's see here. Was there anything else I really wanted to pull from this? But obviously, though, condolences to the people who lost their lives in this kind of situation. But I wanted to get back to the incident that was mentioned with the quad bike. The incident comes a day after the Army reservist drove a quad bike into a Palestinian man who was praying on a roadside in the West Bank. Video shows the man dressed in civilian clothes, but with a firearm, ramming the victim with a vehicle. Reports say the victim was unhurt. The Israeli military said the soldier, who had opened fire earlier in a nearby village, had been fired and his weapon confiscated. In terms of any kind of legal penalties, as of recording this, I believe he was held in custody, or he had not even in custody. I think it was home arrest for like 5 days. I'm like, all right, you're good. Like that's the extent of the punishment here. Mind you, if there was any kind of role reversals and this was a Palestinian doing that, that is not how it would go. You would probably never hear from this guy again. You just wouldn't. It would take a lot to get that person probably out. Anyway, let's see. I want to close out with the end here. Attacks by Israeli settlers on Palestinians have surged in the West Bank in recent years, according to the United Nations, with more than 1,000 killed since the Hamas attacks on Israel on October 7th, 2023, in which about 1,200 people were killed and 251 abducted into Gaza. More than 70,600 people have been killed in Israeli attacks in Gaza since then, according to the territory's Hamas-run health ministry. All right, we're going to move on to our next story here. I'm going to take a water break. All right. Our next story is also from the BBC. U.S. launches strikes against Islamic State in Nigeria. The U.S. has launched strikes against militants linked to the Islamic State group, or IS, in northwestern Nigeria, where militants have sought to establish a foothold. Camps run by the group in Sokoto and Sokoto State were hit near the border with Niger, the U.S. military said. Casualty numbers are unclear, but both U.S. and Nigerian officials say militants were killed. U.S. President Donald Trump said the Christmas Day strikes had been deadly and labeled the group terrorist scum, saying they had been targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians, which that is according to him. According to him, and I also want to add Nicki Minaj. This is another thing. I know this is like the second time I'm mentioning Nicki Minaj this week, but it's just so crazy that she's gone like full Republican. Like, she's just singing all the words, doing all the fucking dances, and it's like, for what, dude? So JD Vance would be like, yeah, that's why I'm a Barbie. Like, what are we doing here? It's like, that's why Cardi B sucks. Like, this cannot be worth it, brother. I just don't, I don't know what political clout or cachet she's gonna stand to get from that. I know this has nothing to do with Nicki Minaj. We're talking about Nigeria, but like, what the fuck? It's just still a what the fuck moment. And I know I'm not the only one, like, but goddamn. Anyway, Nigerian Foreign Minister Yusuf Maitama Tugar told the BBC it was a joint operation and had nothing to do with a particular religion. I love that their follow-up is immediately like, hey, look. Once again, and because they have been saying this, we've talked about this before, they're like, we appreciate any and all help. We are saying we have a problem here with Islamic State, terrorism, whatever. Like, we're trying to deal with that. But to color this as like a Nigerian Christian problem, like they are being isolated, they are being targeted specifically, that's just not true. It's just not the case. It's not proportional. Like these people are literally taking anyone and everyone they can. So we're just trying to deal with the problem. And we appreciate America helping us with that. But like, they have to say that, and I completely understand that shit. Because once again, Donald Trump is saying that is the only reason we are here interacting is to save Nigerian Christians. This is our Christian mission. Like, he's doing this for colonial points, I guess. Like, once again, we are just so back. We're so back, dude. It's giving Magna Carta or some shit. I don't know. We need land. We need to take land. We need to like spread shit. We need to do some missionary work. I don't know, man. Trump is like on some old school shit. It's odd. But I mean, here we are in Nigeria fighting terrorism. Yeah, but it's also crazy that this is the aid we want to give, right? Like war aid, combat, lethal aid. But like, God forbid you need some like tampons or like some shit, like help, with like AIDS or no, we don't want to help with that shit. That's woke lib shit. That's DI shit. We don't want to do that. That's disgusting. That's not what the Trump administration does. We're a common sense administration. You see? You understand? I mean, we could go into the details. And there's more. But I don't know. I feel like you got the Isaiah style readout here, and I just clicked a button and fucked my shit up anyway. So we're gonna go ahead and move along. Oh, actually, I got it back, but we're fine. We're gonna take it to the next story, and we'll be back. I don't think this is going to be a one and done situation. I think that they're going to be continuing joint ops. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what the outcome is there. And also too, I think it's important to get more of a like actual readout on it because they're being very, very vague. Like, we hit targets, we definitely got terrorists, but then you have people on the ground saying like, dude, we're not tied with this. Like, no one we know is tied with this. We just know that there's loud explosions outside of our house. So, you know what I mean? It's giving God bless America. It's giving we're coming through doing night raids in your town. It's giving like, hey, we're killing indiscriminately and calling you a terrorist type shit, which is not new. This is our war on terror. We're doing war on terror. We're doing war on drugs. It's all the same. Like, it's just all the same shit. I mean, same as it ever was, astronaut said. But anyway, let's move along. I'm sorry. I got that all in there at the end. Okay, I'm good. Anyway, from the Associated Press. At least 15 injured in knife and chemical attack at factory in Japan. A man was arrested after stabbing 8 people and injuring 7 others with what was believed to be bleach at a rubber factory in central Japan on Friday, officials said. 8 people were taken to hospitals after being stabbed by the man with a knife at the Yokohama Rubber Company in the city of Mishima. In the I'm fucking that up. Shizuoka I'm totally fucking that. I should know how to say that, but I don't. Shizuoka Prefecture, west of Tokyo, according to Fujisan Nanto Fire Department. Well, take my weeb card away, actually. The department told the Associated Press that 5 of the people who were stabbed were in serious condition, but other details were not available. 7 others were injured by the bleach thrown at them during the attack, the fire department said. Shizuoka prefectural police said the attacker, a 38-year-old man, was arrested for alleged attempted murder at the factory, but did not provide further details. No other details were immediately known. Dude, I feel like at the tail end of this year, it's not looking good for like late 30-year-old dudes. You know, they gotta not wild out like that. The crash out cannot be like giving Call of Duty whack loadouts. Like, stop, just chill. Like, maybe some therapy, maybe, talk things out, communication. May I suggest a podcast? I don't know. Please don't do this. That's scary, dude. Fuck. Like, I'm trying to make light of a really dark and dim situation. Silver lining, I'm glad no one, at least as of, recording this, hearing this, no one's died. So that's good. But, like, I also don't want to be hearing that people are getting bleach thrown at them or people are, like, throwing smoke grenades around. We've covered stories like that recently. Just, like, can we relax? Like, just chill. I know, like, I don't even know. Can we blame? I don't think we can blame Joe Rogan for this. I don't think it's his fault. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to our last story. Let's see. It's a CBS News banger. No Barry Weiss. Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe she edited this. But yeah, let's take our last break and then we will go ahead and close it out. Looks like we made it. Actually, pretty good time. I was afraid. I was afraid I was gonna overyap. The old OY. The old oi. A bit of weather talk. I will say it's been nice that it's just been like cloudy and gloomy looking, but not super duper cold. I'll take it. Like I said, especially with the heater being broken at work. But yeah, definitely did not help my vibe today. I was just like, ugh, today it's gross. It's icky. I like me. Ugh. Ooh. Ooh la la. All right. Once again, from CBS News. California rain may ease, but more mudslides, flooding possible, forecasters say. A strong storm system that brought relentless winds, rain, and snowfall to California this week was expected to ease Friday, but there's still a risk of high surf along the coast, flash flooding near Los Angeles, and avalanches in the Sierra Nevada. Waves near the San Francisco Bay Area could reach up to 25 feet Friday. Parts of Southern California were at risk of flooding, and avalanches could hit the Lake Tahoe area, officials warned. Residents were told to be ready to evacuate the mountain town of Wrightwood, about 80 miles northeast of Los Angeles, because of mudslides. It's not going to take a whole lot to create some hazards on the highways. Mike Wolford, I think I'm going to say Wolford, Mike Wolford, a National Weather Service meteorologist in Los Angeles, told the Associated Press. Still not quite out of the woods, but for the most part, the worst is over. So that's good. But still, hearing all that other stuff is like, oh, it kind of seems a little scary. Atmospheric rivers carried massive plumes of moisture. Excuse me. Carried massive plumes of moisture from the tropics during one of the busiest travel weeks of the year. The storms were blamed for at least 2 deaths earlier in the week. Some 70,000 homes and businesses had no power overnight, according to Find Energy. Now, a lot of more details here. But definitely like the picture that I have was like very like telling of just the situation. Like at first I kind of thought like, oh, maybe it's just like a really neat looking home. And then you realize like how far up everything is. And it's like, oh yeah, it's not good. But it's like, what is it? Let's see here. Davy Snyder walks on the roof of his storm damaged home on December 25th, 2025. And that was in Wrightwood, California. So yeah, I mean, you see like cars in very similar situations where they're just up to like a shed and like they're just covered in mud. And like I can't imagine having to get your car out of that kind of situation, getting your house out of that situation. So yeah, like that alone is would be very crippling mentally for me. Like I don't know how I would financially recover from all of that. You know, that's a great fear of mine, losing all my shit in like a big storm. So, you know, obviously my condolences to everyone there, you know, people who lost their lives, people who lost family in this situation. Obviously very sad. But yeah, you know, we got that weather activity. It was weird because like that's been happening, you know, on the West Coast, but then like over here, overall the weather's been like pretty good. They had like a pretty, you know, warm Christmas and whatnot. Like I said, it was like, oh, a little gloomy today. But yeah, I mean, so it goes. So it goes. That's the weather, baby. But that's it. That's all I have for today. That is the episode. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsy today. Roll call is coming up soon at the top of the month, top of the year. Get in while you can. You know, I shout you out. Plug, you know, yourself. Plug a project if you like. You know, there you go. It's an option. It's a thing you can do. But, you know, no worries if not. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe on the YouTube. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts. Wherever you'd like to listen. Leave a like. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. 5 stars on Spotify. 5 stars on Apple Podcast. Always appreciated. But if you don't do that, that's okay. I really just appreciate you just letting me just, you know, just listening to me whine, you know. Thanks for taking the time. That's pretty cool. But no, I appreciate you just hanging out, you know, letting me hang out with you. I think that's dope. So yeah, hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.